What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back with another episode of the Wright Quality podcast. I'm gonna let you be Miguel today, bro. I'm gonna let you be Miguel today.
What up, Skip? Damn. No, what's good? Happy for another week. We've made it to our 3 segment. Also, I love that Shannon calling Stephen A. Skip shit. I had to start with that, but we have a special guest, so we got to get to that first.
Absolutely. Special guest, my brother, my very good friend, sir. Introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, everybody? My name is Alex Bothwell. Glad to be here. Appreciate y'all for having me on. Big fan of the show.
Hey, man, absolutely. We appreciate that, man. We got it. So obviously, with being a guest on the show, you got to have some kind of common sense when it comes to sports, we would assume, right? But definitely in your professional career, you are around and in the sports industry. So tell the people a little bit about what you do, man, and how you got there and how it's been so far.
Yeah, definitely. So currently I am a production assistant for Bleacher Report, sports social app. Hopefully most of y'all have heard of it. I have 2 degrees, as you can see. I majored in sport management, so that is approximately how I got here. So I did undergrad at West Georgia, sport management, and then decided to go to grad school. And one of the professors approached me and said, "Hey, I want you to come be my graduate assistant." So essentially I went to grad school for free, and I worked with live production in grad school. We just recorded and filmed and broadcast all of our local college games. Took a chance on LinkedIn, just sent out some cold calls, and one of the people I reached out to is ironically my manager now. So to anybody, look, don't be afraid to shoot your shot. Shooting your shot does not just apply to men and women. You know, shoot your shot at all times. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I saw what I wanted, went for it, and now I'm fortunate enough to work for Bleacher Report.
Man, that's an amazing story, bro. That's what's up. I'm happy for you, bro. Like I was even saying offline, bro, just happy to see you doing your thing, man. That's what's
Appreciate
up.
It, Thank you.
So how long you been watching basketball?
Out the womb since I was born.
Okay. All right. We gonna see. The 3 list is gonna be a really interesting list. I keep thinking the list gets somewhat easier, but actually they get just a little bit harder each one we've done. So
Yeah, doing it off of vibes is impossible. I don't know how we made it this far for 3s. We're gonna test limits.
We're definitely testing limits. Man, oh man. Okay. All right. We're gonna start at number 1. I'm going to assume, as I typically do, that we all have the same number 1.
No funny business today.
Yeah, I would hope so. I think this is a clear-cut answer.
He made a school.
The King.
Come on now. We know who he called the president a bum for that alone. For the geopolitical reasons of that. Come on. This is LeBron.
That's insane.
But let's get into basketball reasons.
No. So honestly, truly, so I will admit that I've been a person that definitely has LeBron solidified at 2, right? All time is what I'm referencing. And that I definitely understand and will hear arguments for him being 1. I think the more I really start to look at things and the more I start to look into things, he's slowly becoming number 1.
You're only afraid to say that because the old heads are gonna jump down your throat, Qualls.
Because it's still Jordan to me right now. I'm just saying, like, if we having a really honest conversation, it's a lot closer than a lot of people have it sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
That's all I'm saying.
I have to agree with you, Qualls. I think we've really never seen nobody do what LeBron has done for this amount of time at such a high level. I think that alone puts him in that. You have to open the door for that conversation of, is he number 1 all time? And I think depending upon what happens these last couple of years of his career will tell us a lot about if he's number 1 or number 2.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I will say this as somebody who is not like I'm a LeBron fan out of respect. You know what I'm saying? But Bron has never been like my GOAT from jump. Not to be sarcastic, but like he ain't never been my guy per se or
Paul.
favorite player. But if the only knock, truly, the only true knock against Bron is not winning at the highest level damn near all the time, that's really tough because that's the only thing he really gets criticized for. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if there's truly anything he can do about that, especially considering, not that this has to be deep dive into at this moment, but I do think that the parity in the league does play a role. I think it plays a large
100%.
role, especially if numbers in terms of hardware is the game we're going to play, that plays an extremely large role. So that conversation is much closer and there's much more depth to it than some people give it credit for. So I just want to say all that. However, as we get into the resume, it's actually pretty insane. NBA all-time leading scorer, 4-time NBA champion, 4-time finals MVP, 4-time NBA MVP, 19-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 13-time All-NBA first team, 3-time All-NBA second team, 3-time All-NBA third team, 5-time All-Defense first team, 1-time scoring champion, 1-time assist leader, and career numbers of 27.2, 7.5, and 7.3.
It should be like 6 or
That's not
7
even half. That's not even half of his like stats.
If Dan Gilbert gave him an actual team for the first like 10 years of his career, it could be like 7 rings.
It'd be a lot different. It'd be a lot
Boobie Gibson. I love the name. But I mean, a finals player with him, my God, Drew Gooden, like he could have had a couple more. And like you said, Qualls, I think when you go into like the parity of the league, you throw Bill Russell in today's NBA, he's coming out with 3. If we're saying like, man, not to throw dirt on his team. Name. Sorry, not to throw Bill Russell in there, but like, it's just like there was 3 teams back then really competing for a chip. There are 2.
Yeah.
If we're being very real. As you get into the 90s, you see MJ, 6 rings in that era. That's, I mean, a bit more comp, but at the same time, he's facing fading stars at a point. And also he's just like, people are afraid to get in his path. He's like, I'm sorry, Michael. I'll give you the refs are talking to him away, like we have tape. Bron is just a different breed, man. I think the Jimmy High Roller video put it in a really good perspective for me, where it's just like a supernova that burns really bright and really hot for a shortened amount of time, and just like a sun that's just there forever, or all what seems like forever. Like Bron has done the impossible. I think Alex said it best. Like not even like he's done stuff that we've almost never seen. He's done stuff that we haven't seen. Like the scoring title might get to 40,000 before he's done. He has it. Like in health is wealth for him. Like God bless, he's put all that money into his body, because like he looks good enough to get a couple more years out. But I feel like for him, it's going to be playing at the level that he sees as like satisfactory. So like he could coast and not play defense in the league for the last 10 years, but he wants to still be serviceable on both ends. And I say serviceable in the best way. Like, I don't know. He's special. Like, he is one of those, and I think he's always got a knock on his game because he passed it well, which is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard to be criticized ever, because he's made the right play always, and that's all guys wanted MJ to do, and they like gave him the biggest like ego boost, like, oh my God, Jordan passed the ball in a finals game to win. It's like Bron has always done that because he wants to win every game. And he trusts. And I think that's almost his biggest gift at the end, is that like he's so smart and he's always willing to make the right play, that he's gotten to these levels now that he's surpassed what people thought he was going to be in high school. I think everyone's gotten the Bron treatment since and has failed miserably. Like OJ Mayo was supposed to be it. Like there's so many guys, but beyond just him. But like he's set those Jordan expectations again for the next generation, and no one has met that yet. And it's interesting to see who will be that next person out the gate that they're just, they've taken the league. I don't think we saw that since, Jordan, Kobe. So
I agree. You also have to think there's a whole generation younger than us who only know LeBron as the GOAT. Like to them, LeBron is that guy. That's he's dominated the league for the last 18 years. So anybody 18 and younger probably looks at LeBron as the greatest basketball player to ever walk Earth. We're fortunate enough to, have had Kobe at a point in time and then Jordan before that. But these younger guys, all they know is LeBron and how he's dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bron has a lot more things in his favor in terms of his legacy, which is hard because anytime we talk about Bron, it's like an automatic comparison because it's just a matter of like, is he going to eclipse Jordan? But at this point, that conversation is just too subjective. But as far as small forwards are concerned, I mean, he would probably be one at almost any position he was at, unless he magically played shooting guard, then that would be really, really interesting. But because of his position, I mean, he's definitely the greatest small forward to ever play basketball. So
I agree. I want to pose a question to y'all. Absolutely. So we've had all this talk about what the sprinter Noah Lyles said about the whole, you're not the best NBA, or you're not the champion of the world. And then we get knocked out FIBA in the bronze medal game, don't even medal. Does it do anything? And if so, what does it do for LeBron's legacy if at 40 years old, he leads Team USA to a gold medal? He turns 39 this December. Paris is in the summer, so he'll be 39, but he's a 40-year-old man. And if he starts, and he might not be the number one scoring option, but he's the leader of that team if we go to Paris next year, or if he goes to Paris next year.
Pauls, I'm gonna let you answer first.
Okay.
But I got some if you want me to go first, if you're still thinking.
Yeah, you go first.
No, only for the reason that people are already going to expect us to do that. Like even if it is Bron, he's gonna have Steph, supposedly. He's gonna have Dame. He's gonna have Book, Durant. We're gonna bring out, the big guns. Ant still should be on that team, deservingly.
He should.
But like, once we see that team, and once we see them go up against these bigger teams that are supposed to be our counterparts, I feel like I don't think it's going to be Dream Team Part 2 because the comp is so much better across the world, and I think we don't have the necessary bigs to truly match up with the other teams in FIBA basketball. Like our best American center might be Brook Lopez, if we're being very real. Like to cover those guys over there, like Triple J could work, but he's got to have more than 2.9 boards a game. Thank you for posing this question because I want to talk about FIBA basketball so bad. I was watching all that. I was texting Qualls. I was like, we're in a good game. This is Ant's moment in the pre-round before we even got knocked out. Our first loss against oh my God, who was targeting us? Lithuania? Not Lithuania. Goodness.
I don't remember who the first loss was to.
They were targeting Austin Reeves like I've never seen before. It was Valanciunas' team. Goodness. God. I will search it and I'll say it by the end of the podcast to put respect on this country because I don't want a country coming after our podcast Qualls. But they beat us. And I think it's still going to be good comp for them. It's still going to be competitive. But then once you bring out all of these MVPs, you bring out those accolades to go do it and to go put on the show that they're expected to put on. If we do dominate how we're supposed to, I feel like it'll be a good footnote in his career, but I don't think it may change people's views in terms of who's 1A and who's 1B in terms of him and Jordan.
That's fair.
Yeah. The only counter I was going to have is, Miguel, you love to mention Melo's 4 medals.
Oh, I love it. As a Puerto Rican, I love it.
So, it matters, but it don't matter.
Because it doesn't get Melo in the top 5 threes conversation. Because he could make the list off of those accolades that we bring up, but I don't think we are. I think a 5th ring does more for Bron more than an Olympic gold.
Melo's no closer than 7, and even that's really interesting.
I agree.
That's not guaranteed either.
No closer than 7 as top 5 threes. Thank you for giving him 7.
Yeah, he might be eight or
Might
eight.
be 8.
Yeah, no,
Might be
100%.
8.
That's why I said thank you for giving him 7. Absolutely.
7 is like really 7 is the mellow fan in me.
Yeah.
Just for the jab alone, what he's given to the game in that jab step.
But I personally think outside of bias, he's somewhere between 8 and 10, depending on how much you like him.
I agree.
Realistically.
Yeah, he's a top 10, I would say though.
I would definitely argue top 10 for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
He could have been 30,000 points in the NBA if, a couple things don't happen, a couple tweets about his game.
Literally. That's crazy. Yeah, he's still number 9. That's wild. But no, great question. Yeah, but honestly, Bron's reached that point where there's not much that's going to change this conversation outside of how many points he ultimately ends up with, and if he gets another ring, which I don't know. It depends on the rest of the team. I do like their roster. I do really like their roster. So we'll see, but it would have to be now.
Yeah, now, absolutely.
If you got a ring at 40, that might really seal the deal for Bron fans, at least. To say that he got a ring at 40, being at least a number 1 or number 2. Because when Jordan was at that age, he was,
it would be a big deal. It would be a big deal.
It would.
For sure. Okay. So, number 2. All right. Who do y'all have at number 2?
I agree.
Larry Legend. All right.
This was a very hard choice, though. This was not an easy decision.
No, not at all.
Those, when you get to comparing those two, it honestly, KD really shot himself in the foot. I'll just say that. He really shot himself in the foot.
Should have wore a size smaller, buddy.
that, but also
how he got his rings. You're gonna say
I'm not discrediting them. Like we'll get to that. We'll get to that because that conversation is coming. But for Larry Legend, he gotta be here. He literally had the same effect that Magic had. So if we're gonna look at Magic the way we look at Magic, we gotta look at Larry the same way.
It's really hard.
Bad as white boy to play. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, he is.
I'll just say that was what made it so hard. Like
Larry was a dog. He was a go-getter for sure.
Because
also what I realized, so Larry Bird only played about 12, 13 seasons. And he played the latter half of his career without a back, basically. Sorry, but like without a back. So
laying on the bench to try and get more.
So what I'm really thinking about is imagine a 15, 16 year career without serious injury.
Yeah. He was already so pure too. His shit talking was A1. Like he was going out. He's like, I'm gonna do it lefty. And he was doing it lefty. Like some of his trash talk comps, I'm like, he was a bad man. Like and I think that's the one thing that was the separation between him and KD was that he was the man at his spot. And he stayed granted, if it was Celtics Lakers, I always say that those rings are kind of AstroTurf because it was, where the money was at. And, of course, they're going to have the best teams every year. But, man, it's just like he'd walk into a 3-point competition and be like, who's getting second? Bless you. But for real, like he was, I think just the lore of him and we can go back and see tape of him doing that too. He's not saying KD isn't a bad man either. I was terrified for a whole 7 games against that man.
Oh, absolutely.
Numbers on us. There's nothing you could do about it too. Same with Larry. You could say the same.
Definitely agree. The tipping point for me between Larry and KD, defense. Larry had 3 all NBA defensive teams and KD has none. If KD played a hair of defense, I would have gave the edge to KD. Offensively, I think I'm gonna take KD, but overall game, I have to go Larry.
Yeah, and it's not like he didn't improve his defense in Golden State. I remember like he wasn't a liability like I thought he was going to be. But yeah, if there is a distinctive thing between them, those accolades speak for themselves.
Yes. Okay. I want to run through the resume so we can hop right into that because this is about to get about KD. 3-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, 3-time league MVP. That's a triple crown consecutive years. 12-time NBA All-Star, 9-time All-NBA first team, 1-time second team, 3-time All-NBA defense second team. Career averages of 24.3, 10 rebounds a game, and 6.3 assists. Those are really solid career numbers. That's crazy.
Ron should have had a triple crown. I'm just gonna say
he should have.
He should have had the first unanimous. That man that voted Melo. Sorry, I'm bringing it back to the number one. Back to our number two.
So from 2 to 3, KD literally is at 3 by a hair. And honestly, if Brooklyn, I'll say this, if Brooklyn had turned out different, or depending on how Phoenix looks, if they pull this off, it could happen. That's how close it is. That's really because the only thing, KD's in a similar situation where the only thing that he has to prove is that he can be the man.
I agree.
That's really it.
That's the only thing stopping him from being 2.
Let me ask you this question then. Suns go to the finals, Suns win. But Book gets finals MVP.
It depends on the numbers and the series. Because with a team like that, it's you really couldn't go wrong, ideally. So it would depend on the numbers and who they play. Like, it kind of depends on the story of it too. Like but if it's because Book was the man and KD didn't show up, then
it's different.
Yeah. So
I think what's hard for me is that he had a chance to be the man at first. He had a 3-1 lead to be the man.
He did.
And didn't. And it's not that he even went to a different team. He said he went to the team that 3-1'd him. That, that's a hard sell to me to say that you're the number 2 guy at your position. When, Larry had his trials and tribulations and either triumphed, didn't, came back, and ran it back. And I think for him to be in that combo, yes, he's got those 2 rings. But outside of that, he needs to show that you can do it by yourself. Even if Phoenix is a super team, you are on your own, you're leading your pack. Can you do it? So I think, he's very close. I don't know if this 1 ring gives it to me over Larry still, even though it would make it a lot closer because he is the best bona fide scorer that's ever touched a ball.
Absolutely.
But it makes it the razor thin margin, even, it's atom thin at that point.
I think KD ultimately will be stuck at 3 because I don't know how Phoenix will look, but it's really hard for me to put, I wouldn't put money on KD winning another ring.
And I think that's what made him slide, even because he could have been a solidified 2, but I think how bad he looked in that Boston series with Brooklyn, it gets no talk. How bad, he looked in that Phoenix series. Not even he was bad. Technically, he had good games, but there was no impact. They were getting ran off the court. KD wasn't on the court. It didn't look like when he was facing the Bucks a couple years back, no Kyrie, half of James Harden, kind of willing that team there. And I don't know. It's not that his talent, got washed up or anything like that. It's just that the talent in the NBA is getting that much closer to it.
There are younger players in the NBA who are trying to claim their spot in the top rankings of the league.
100%.
So guys like KD, I don't know if KD is out of time, But I mean, the clock's definitely ticking. But I feel like it's about to run out.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know if he can do it.
as a 7-footer with that historic, not like bad foot problems, like it's tough. It's hard.
It is. I have one more question for y'all. Let's play revisionist history.
Okay.
Golden State three-peats with KD. KD does not tear his Achilles. How does this conversation change? And let's assume he wins Finals MVP again. Does this conversation change?
Yes.
Yeah.
The three-piece is different. And I even though like I'd be like, it was a bum ass Toronto Raptors. No one cares at that point because it's a ring. So yeah, if KD has a three-peat, he leaves, and all of this happens at all of the places he's gone to, I think we'd pretty much give him a pass. I think we would we'd find ways to absolve him of what happened at the latter half of his career if he was like, he went to Golden State and he changed what they look like for the foreseeable future, So
that's fair.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, the thing about KD and Golden State is a lot of us hate the move, but if we look at the numbers, we can't say that he technically wasn't the man. However, the argument that it was easier for him to be the man because of Steph is very, very valid. So that's where things get really dicey as well. But
because of course you get open shots when the man just scored 400 threes the season before. Yeah, every shot may be open for you at that point because everyone was terrified that every time the man breathed on the ball, he's gonna just put it up.
When you're playing alongside the greatest shooter, I don't think that as another prolific scorer, you can that mitigates or takes away the effect that has. You know what I'm saying? Which is also interesting. Last thing about KD, which is also so interesting with Phoenix because that's Devin Booker's team.
Absolutely.
That is Devin Booker's team. So can KD be a second option to some people again? Get a ring and really eclipse Larry? Would it be enough?
Like you said earlier, if he's not the man and gets a ring, is not enough. It's not enough.
For me, personally as well.
Okay. All right. We're at 4.
We're at 4.
This gets hard.
I hope we're aligned on
thing. It doesn't get hard, but I could understand why you think it's like a fake difficult.
I think there's a clear answer. We'll see.
Gail?
You want me to say first?
Yes.
Expose myself?
Yes.
I mean, historically, I might need to go to the hospital because I'm sick. I need to call on somebody who is a doctor.
Right.
But I'm hoping I don't have no J. Is Dr. J right?
Yes.
That's what I'm calling.
4 for 4. Let's
4 for 4.
What's your butt? What's your butt, Miguel? I feel like you have a butt.
There's no butt. No, I think in my head, the vibes were very strong. My heart was going, somewhere.
Interesting.
Somewhere here.
Interesting.
But we'll see. We'll see. I don't think he's there because his career is so short at this point.
So
Dr. J is number 4. Before we get to
Dr. J,
5 is going to be we might have something completely different for everyone. So yeah, I'm intrigued.
Definitely number 4. If you just look at his stats, there's an argument that he could be higher. However, the reason he's 4 for me, his ABA days are included in his overall stats, and I have to discount him for that because it was not the NBA. That's why he's number 4. Because when I looked at his stats, I was thoroughly shocked. 30,000 points.
Yeah.
Average 24.2 points a game. 16-time All-Star. 4-time MVP. 7-time All-NBA. It's an argument he should be
made it come together. Yes. No, he was because they were we need this man here.
Exactly. It's an argument he could be number 2 if you look at just his numbers. But because of his first few years in the ABA, I had to put him at number 4.
I'm so glad you said that. Literally, when I was looking the stats up, I was looking at everything and I'm like,
how?
60% of his stats accomplishment, 60 give or take. It may be more 50-50, but I feel like it's over 50-50. I really feel like it's 60-40, 60% being ABA days. And I'm not, it's like I'm not discrediting it because it's still his career, but
it's different. It's
different. Yeah. It's just
different.
It's a little different because I completely agree. I was looking at the numbers all together and I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
This resume is insane. And he has the legend. Like this is not
the NBA Street Volume 2 is, that stretches him, like he is, he set the culture. Like they needed him at that time. They were like, oh yeah, like something's wrong here. Bring that man to the NBA. Let's see how he fares. And he still got a ring too.
Dr. J is the league before Magic and Bird. That's how important we're talking. So 4 is almost like by default because we easily could have been having a much different conversation about this order. Some things, if times are different, all things that are out of control. But yeah,
we might still be playing through the point.
Different. Dr. J definitely different.
Definitely different.
Okay. All right.
This the one I'm waiting on.
All right.
I'm saying it first this time, and I feel like I kind of gave, if you didn't see.
I'll go first, but it might not.
I'm ready to hear yours. The special guest got to go first.
So, for me, this morning I had 3 people who could be number 5. By the time I got off work, I was down to 2. Made a few phone calls, asked a few friends, got their opinion. I got some hate for the way my heart is leaning, but I'm going with my heart, and I'm going to stand on it. I personally think the 5th best small forward of all time, even currently, is Kawhi Leonard. It's Kawhi Leonard.
We have great minds.
It is.
It's Kawhi Leonard.
We have great minds.
Okay.
I understand the whole
Alex. Okay, so what was the process? Because was Scotty the other person?
Scotty, look.
Yes.
In order. Scotty's number 6. That's my honorable mention. Scotty's number 6. And Elgin Baylor would be number 7.
I need to hear your reasoning for why Kawhi is 5 and Scotty 6.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I think I know what it is. I think if we're all on the same page, this is actually pretty crazy. But I feel like we're still in alignment here.
Yeah.
Definitely. So for me, I looked at Kawhi stats, a little underwhelming, but once again, he hasn't played a full career yet. And I know what everybody's going to say. He doesn't play. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. But this man is a 5-time All-Star. He has 2 Finals MVPs. And if it wasn't for Ray Allen, he arguably could have 3.
Yes.
2-time Defensive Player of the Year. 7-time All-Defense. He's a great 2-way player. Great. Elite. And 5-time All-NBA. I feel like with Kawhi might single-handedly have the greatest single-season championship run in the NBA. You get traded to a team, Toronto Raptors, and you take them to the finals. Granted, KD got hurt, but let's forget about that. He won a ring. He literally delivered what Toronto traded him to do. He played a role early in his career, learned from, the big 3 in San Antonio, learned from Pop, then he became the man in San Antonio. Then he went and became the man in Toronto, and now he's in LA. And their chances are their window is still open. If he gets another ring, he's solidified as number 5. I can hear arguments for Scotty. And then another thing I had was the reason Scotty's 6. Aside from the whole, we already know Scotty was the number 2, which was not his fault. But when Jordan wasn't there, we kind of saw how it was for Chicago. And that is why I can't place a number 2 as the top 5 small forward of all time. So I have to go with Kawhi.
That's perfect. That's you took the words right out of like my mouth for what, was the difference between him and Scotty. Like those 2 years that he had, that was ample opportunity to be like, you have the same team, same bones. It's you now. And, Kawhi willed a couple teams there, and he got a finals MVP, even though that is, them sailing into the sunset, the tail end of their careers. That's still the big three of San Antonio. And you got the finals MVP out of all of those Hall of Famers.
Yep.
He set himself apart. And I think the two-way aspect of his game really, that made it easier to put him and Scotty on that same pedestal. To be, curious, who was that third? Oh, yeah, you said it was Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor. This morning, Elgin Baylor was number 3. Looked at his stats. I was like, it's between Scotty and Kawhi. It's between Scotty and Kawhi for me. I also want to say another reason, what really sold myself on putting Kawhi up there, at one point in time, whether it was LeBron, Larry, KD, Dr. J, or Kawhi, at one point in time, any of those 5 were considered the best player in the NBA at one point in time. After the Raptors won the championship, there was arguments that Kawhi took over the NBA. He was that dude.
Yeah.
Once again, not his fault. He plays with MJ, but Scotty was never thought of as the best player in the NBA during his playing years.
These are great points. These are all great points. I literally put their resumes side by side, and I said, I think your average basketball fan may have a tendency out of fanfare to lean towards Scotty, because I have not met too many people that are diehard Kawhi. Now, I do know some, and these are the type of arguments that they make. And what I must say is, when you think about it, we can talk about load management, this, that, and the third. When Kawhi has been healthy, those numbers have always been there.
He's been a nightmare. Like, you don't want to see.
He's had some misfortune. Like, this is not recklessness on his part. Like, he's had some real misfortune with some of these injuries.
Yeah.
Some may argue that this Clipper era, especially the collapse in the bubble, could be a chink in the armor, if you will, of him being that 5. However, when we get to Scotty, it's everything that y'all said. And it's that a lot of Scotty's accomplishments that even makes the resume comparable is by association.
By association.
Not taking away from his impact and his role in it. But he would not have been, I don't think he would have these numbers as the guy. So, or not the numbers that would let's put him over like that next person. So Kawhi in this instance, but
wow.
Yeah. And Scotty at 6, I don't think that should be looked at as disrespectful either.
No. Really. Because he's a 6, like, to be top 6 small forwards ever, that's a tough list to crack top 5 out of all those players that we named.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. We went 5 for 5.
We went 5 for 5. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Hey man, this was a good one, man. Yeah, 3s. Yeah, this one we're rolling with these, bro. These are getting really spicy. Alex, man, we're definitely we're gonna have some. I don't know what we're gonna call them. I'm trying to think of a name for like things that aren't the top 5 list, but that are going on in sports to talk about.
Okay.
But man, definitely got to have you back on, bro. You might be the only guest that actually like asked us questions as well, which I thought was great. I thought it was great. I loved answering the questions. So yeah, man, definitely gonna have to have you come back with some more questions for us and just kind of see where they go. But
yeah, man, I'm down, man. I had a lot of fun. Thank y'all for having me on. It was great. And I'm surprised we had the same list, because I was like, man, they're gonna kill me for this.
Nah, bro, the number, bro, the numbers really don't lie. Like, if you given historical context, it wouldn't be a discussion if he wasn't hurt. Like we'd be having a completely different one. He'd probably be 4.
I was about to say it's arguable he
could be 3.
Honestly,
Could be three if the LA experiment had went different.
Yeah. Truly.
Imagine how this would be if the bubble went different. If we actually got the Battle of LA.
Oh man.
Crazy. So 15 years from now, we're gonna look back. I want to know, we named our top 10. Where, just based on what you think his career trajectory will be, where do y'all think Jason Tatum will finish?
Top 25. Top 30.
Are you talking all time or are you talking top 5 small forwards?
All time. Like, no, not all time. Like, like just for his position.
Forward. Small forward.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, he's like right outside like Scotty. Or eclipsing Kawhi, depending on what the ring totals look like.
Yeah.
But I think it really depends on rings. I truly don't see him getting one in Boston as a Bucks fan. Very biased. But it's if he gets like 3 rings, he's like 7-6-5 range. I've easily with 3 rings, like cracking 4 even, you know?
Yeah, but I think you said it best case scenario, probably 5, maybe 4, depending on how things shake out.
He's gonna have to do a lot. And I'm not saying he doesn't have a lot of career left, but like,
yeah,
he's in the stage of his career where I wouldn't want to wait too long to start getting some hardware because it's not gonna get easier.
Because like that's why I said like for the low ball, like I think he's gonna be like around, like he'll score enough, he'll be in that like top 15 range, I think, pretty easily. But that could be his like worst case scenario. That's his worst case scenario, I think, because he's already made 2 finals, right?
Yeah.
Wait.
Hey, he's made 1. He's been to
one. Sorry,
he's been to 3. He's been to 3 Eastern Conference Finals though.
Yeah, and then 1 finals, and then he needs a couple MVPs. He hasn't solidified himself as the best player in the league yet.
So Gail, that's what I was gonna say. Tatum is gonna have to be either the guy or a top 3 guy when Bron is gone, when Steph is gone, when KD is gone. Once they start to leave, he has to be a top 3 guy.
That's very hard because
I know, but if he's not a top 3 guy, he's not gonna make too much headway on that list because I don't think he'll have because he's gonna have to start for him to get to Scotty, for him to get to even like he may be able to beat out maybe a Elgin, especially because Elgin doesn't have a ring. So if he gets a ring, that might help him. But to get into that Scotty range, even to start I would say at least to eclipse Pierce, he's gonna have to at least get a ring, especially in Boston.
Especially
in Boston,
he's had
so
long, because it's tough. It's tough because
which is why the
best player in a league with fucking, pardon my language, Victor Wembanyama, with Luka Doncic, with Scoot Henderson is gonna be tough. Mark my words, in 15 years. If he's healthy, eye test wise, he looks really nice. It's early, but I'm throwing my head in that ring now. But I don't know. There's a lot of good young guys. I mean, like that haven't even started their like first half of their prime, like Melo.
No, you're absolutely right.
Like there's a lot of good young talent out there.
Even Giannis is still relatively young for the basketball world. Like he's gonna be competing with Giannis the rest of their 3 years. It's a 3-year age gap.
Yeah. It's not hard.
Since we're on the topic, if this is going to be a really interesting season, this has to be Giannis's revenge tour. Don't credit me with that. Somebody else said it. But
he said it.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, right.
He was like, I'm done being nice. That's his whole thing.
This has to be his revenge tour. Now, there are a lot of different elements at play in regards to this season, especially for the Bucks and him. Got a new coach. We're running it back with virtually the same team, so we're putting a huge amount of faith into our big three. Not saying that they can't deliver, it just has to happen.
Yep, this is the year.
It just has to happen. And it has to be consistent. But yeah, that can get really interesting. But yeah, Tatum will be competing with him. But the league is so up in the air because there are so many people leveling around the same pain of like, oh, I got a ring, or oh, I don't have a ring, but I've been to conference finals, been to the finals, just didn't win, got the individual accolades. So it's like, who's gonna get 2, 3 out the gate and kind of separate themselves? Or are we gonna start seeing some of the people on this level team up?
Oh,
I'm afraid because Giannis don't talk to nobody. It's gonna be hard connecting when you don't text nobody. Giannis, please talk to Ant. Please be friends with Ant. That's the only person I want you to talk. He's cool with Cat. That's a way. So it's like, hey, Ant, how you do? How you do, brother? Yes, you're an insect. That's hilarious. That'd be awesome. And then he's here, and then things could be good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The team up. Let's not talk about it. I feel like we just opened up a can of worms, and now all the Young Bucks heard us. They're like, "That's an option. I can get out of Charlotte."
Please get out of Charlotte.
Oh man, I digress before we get too deep down that rabbit hole. But man, yes.
Yeah.
So fun having you, bro. This is nice, Alex.
Yes. We would literally be talking here for another hour about whatever comes up in this sports conversation. But man, top 5 list will be continuing. We will be having Alex back for sure. NBA season starts in roughly about a month and some change. About like 6 weeks, something like that. So we rolling right into that season, and yeah, it'll be a lot of content to go into right before the season starts. So yeah, y'all stay tuned. Let us know what y'all think of the top 5 list. Were y'all in line with us? If all 3 of us thought the same thing, we're gonna assume that the majority of y'all who got common sense probably did as well. And do y'all agree with our top 5 current players that's active, healthy in the league right now? Let us know that too. But yeah, until next time, we'll catch y'all for the Power 4 episode. Peace.